Now, I don't know about you, but I am finding it extremely hard to believe that even after 5 years of uploading Don't Starve content, we only have 2 tier list videos across this entire channel, and one of them is doing all the heavy lifting. So BEARDO got to thinking, why not just sit down and make another? We can have some in-depth discussions about some things, very short ones about the others, and carry on. But this time, also making it a banger with the best bosses across the entire franchise. And we're gonna go in order of the tier list, everybody, because why the heck not, right? So first up, Ancient Guardian. And this is an interesting one, because back in the day, I would have ranked this guy pretty high, but nowadays, I'm teetering between B and C, and I might land on C. And you're for wondering why, it's just too easy. Back in the day, we had to dodge and weave this guy, very carefully choosing when we get damage in, kiting him, and he was a very dangerous boss. But nowadays, all we gotta do is run the guy into any of the million pillars that are gonna be around. He gets stunned for a not insignificant amount of time, and we get a not insignificant amount of free damage in every single time. Yes, Phase 2 is a little dangerous. Yes, he leaps now. Cool, awesome. He has been reworked, and his loot is better than ever. But the fight itself, and how it feels for me, is not threatening. And he is actually like the most threatening boss leading up to the Fuel Weaver. So, yeah. He sits at C. Oh, the Ancient Herald, everybody. I love this guy, especially after some recent music changes. So you know what? I put him in an A. Not all the way up to the top because, unfortunately, the guy is still kind of a potential hold F and win fight. Some other recent changes have kind of tweaked how his summons work, but my favorite part about the Ancient Herald is that he's supposed to be a harbinger, and holy moly, a harbinger he is. Even if you do what you're supposed to do, which is the moment he spawns, run up to him, hold F, and he maybe only gets one summon in, you're still gonna see his awesome abilities, and again, this new music is untouchable. I love it. I love the way it feels, how it sounds, how it plays, and you can fight multiple of them almost every single day. It's a great boss. I'm in. Ugh, Antlion. Yeah. Honestly, I would have put it in F if it wasn't for the most recent Cult of the Lamb update. I am not gonna lie. The only reason it's in D is because it now drops a crap ton of loot and blueprints. That's it. But the fight is just so embarrassingly easy. I've been crying for an Antlion refresh for years, and it doesn't even matter if you're playing solo or with the group. It's just camera movement, and you win. And it doesn't even have that much health. It might really trap you with the spikes, but as long as you're moving them feetsies and not being dumb and holding F with this fight, you're good. You really, really are. The hardest part might even just be the sandstorm counter, so you're not going to have any head armor. But yeah, I have never liked Antlion. I've always wanted to change so I can like it. And again, the reason why it's in D is because it drops so many blueprints for some pretty darn unique stuff. I won't lie. Lazy Deserter, the Turf blueprint, and now the Cult of the Lamb stuff. It's okay. But our buddy OG Bearger, everybody. Okay. Now, it would be funny if I put Bearger in B. And, pretty tempted to do just that. Would you look at that? Okay. Bearger is just okay. Again, not necessarily hostile immediately. Fight is pretty easy once you do learn the kiting pattern. The biggest thing is everybody always goes for more kiting pattern after he does a slam, not knowing he always swipes after that. But if you know that, you kind of win. And let's be real, we all use Bearger more as a utility than just like hoping to fight the guy for his loot, because his loot is not very good. So that's why the guy ranks where he is. And as a fight, it's definitely just like an okay, decent B fight. B Queen, everybody. All right, this one also kind of intriguing because, are we thinking solo B Queen? Are we thinking group B Queen? Are we thinking both B Queen? I like B Queen. She has some good drops, but holy moly, is she annoying solo. Man, I'm gonna put her B again. Okay. The both B bosses in B. Didn't plan that, it's just how it's happening. Alright, B Queen. She is just so annoying to fight solo unless you're doing some wall method or the road method or you have some bunnymen with you. This is why she might drop down in the sea, but the jelly beans and the bundling wrap, dude, like, are you joking? Those are just way too good. The only reason she's not in A is because she's one of those where super sucks solo, but way easier with people. I like her design. I like how she has multiple phases throughout the fight. I enjoy the grumble bees being weaved into said fight, but again, she's just a pain in the butt. She really, really is. But the moment you get any help, she kinda eases up, so that's why she is ranked where she is. Oh, my beautiful, beautiful Celestial Champion. Kind of very, very easy for an endgame boss, am I right? But I love active fights. I really, really do. Which is why, S tier, baby. Oh, yes. This is probably going to get some looks from some of you. Listen, people, we have 3 entire phases, all of which with a crazy amount of health, meaning we have 3 separate bosses in one go. And the entire bout is active at all times. I love it. All different sorts of moves you have to know the counters for, especially come phase 3. And while phase 1 and phase 2 are a little samey, they're not quite. I like their gestalt mechanics. I like the way they look. I like the way they sound. I like where we fight them. So 100%, this might be my favorite boss fight in the entire game. And then there's the Crab King. Is this gonna surprise anybody? But, yup. Bad. Okay, not bad on paper. Finding the Crab King is absolutely the worst thing ever without a natural detector. Let's all agree on that. And when we do, it's stationary, and we have to be on a boat. He has no real attacks, meaning no armor is needed whatsoever, and the gems change the entire thing, which is a really, really neat concept, but it is executed so poorly. And that sucks twofold because the Crab King is also required to complete this game, so there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Most people are going to use purple gems to just counter his geysers every time, and they're going to use some sort of cheese out there. It's gonna happen. And that's just not a good design. But Clay got something right when they were designing bosses way back in the day, because we got Deerclops, everybody. Now, nostalgia is making me want to put this guy high. But I don't know. I'm gonna go B, actually. I'm gonna go B. Feastclops is not on this list. I think I might like Feastclops a little more. If it was Feastclops, I'll put it in A. But for Deerclops, it's just the first big hurdle. So once you get past Deerclops for your first time, it's like, yeah, okay, that was easy. Now I don't really know why I was so worried. And you know what also kind of shot Deerclops in its own foot? Clay released an update to where Deerclops' attacks are now directional. So if you just like do a little, hey kid, nothing personal, every single time, you'll never get hit. So the biggest thing is just gonna be sanity. And does sanity really count for a boss in this case? No. It's one attack. If you leave it somewhere and it starts destroying stuff, yes, that's gonna be a problem. But as a fight, it's just way too easy once you learn how to do it for the very first time. Thus, B. If it was Feastclops or nostalgia talking, A. Dragonfly, everybody. It's kind of in the same boat as B Queen. I am not gonna lie. But this might surprise you. I'm going C here. You might be wondering why? Well, when a really, really big bad raid boss can be wholly countered by a wall and just some sleeping mechanics, you kinda have to question that a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I love the Dragonfly fight. It is a classic. It has some of the best drops in this game, for sure. Pivotal for a lot of things. But, again, a wall counters the larva, and a pan flute counters her one very, very dangerous attack. Other than that, you can kite her, or you can tank her. Either way, you're gonna probably be okay. You can even bring followers to it, all that fun stuff. So, yeah, I'm kinda giving her a little crap because of just how easy it is to counter her. A moose that looks like a goose. Okay, kind of antlion-ish. In fact, very antlion-ish. Because Moose Goose is not the boss. The babies, the demon spawns, the mosslings are the main boss. Goose is kind of just annoying. Sometimes she gets in hits that just make no sense because it's spring, so you're lagging a little bit, and she has insane range. And if you get a little too far, she's gonna hop back and lose aggro. So you're gonna have to just go in a circle this whole flipping time. She has one attack that if you just hold spacebar when you know it's coming, you literally catch what you need to, so you negate that completely. It's just a simple kite, everybody. The fight is laughably easy until you get to the Mosslings, and then it becomes really dangerous because all these things are spinning after you, lightning falling from the sky, you get trapped, you're very likely dead. So once again, as a fight, Goose, just not great. Oh, evil Santa, I love ya so. Okay, I like active bosses, as I said, and well, it's very hard to find an active boss like Claus. So, oof, A or S, that's a tough one. Right now, I'm probably gonna leave it in S, because it's kind of still basic, and once you do it once, it doesn't really always change. Yes, the arena changes, but the attacks, kind of the same, negatable. I love the running around in this boss fight, I do, but it's the same thing every single time, and I get it, you might be thinking, wait a minute, Beard, what about the Celestial Champion? But no, the Celestial Champion at least has some varied attacks. Claus is always doing the same set of attacks every single time. Even when you get into phase 2 and he starts lunging, technically, same attacks, unless the deer are gone. And that's another thing that kind of demotes him a little bit. If the deer die, you just get a completely unfair fight whatsoever, and yeah, that's not very fun. That's not very cool. So that's why he's going to sit in A, and let's face it, the loot he drops is kind of just S tier almost anyway, so again, teetering S to A. Oh, more solo don't starve bosses, you say? The Iron Hulk, everybody? Alright, Iron Hulk. This might also kind of surprise you, even with the loot the thing drops. I'm putting it in C. It's kind of annoying to get together, especially when you kill it for the first time, and the fight, as awesome and as unique as it is so stupidly easy because this is solo Don't Starve, so bosses only have like 3,000 health. So if you come from any sort of Don't Starve Together background and you're only playing Don't Starve for the very first time, you might be like, holy moly, that was like the final boss of Don't Starve Hamlet. Because while, again, it is very awesome in how it moves and its attacks and everything, especially in what season you happen to be fighting it in, which might be the most dangerous part, by the way. It's just like, yeah, you start the fight and the thing's dead almost, especially if you're using a certain character or certain weapons. So I'm sorry, Iron Hulk, I love what you drop. You literally make us invincible Iron Man for a few minutes. But just you alone with how you get assembled, with how to reassemble you, and your fight. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, putting you into C. The Melbatross. Honestly, gotta be honest, wasn't even thinking about the Melbatross when I started this video. Melbatross, everybody. Also, stupidly annoying to find. I'm going D. I'm going D. Yeah, super dumb and annoying to find unless you fish in a shoal, right? And the loot, not great. The dropping of aggro, awful. So bad. The waves, kind of annoying. Yeah, I don't like the Melbatross. So much so, again, I'm not even sure I'm going to show footage of it right now. Misery Toadstool, everybody. This might shock ya. It is going to S immediately. And you're like, whoa, 99,999 health, an endurance fight above any endurance fight ever in the history of this franchise. Are you serious, Beard? Yes, because I actually kinda like that. For one thing, if you're doing Toadstool, you should do Misery Toadstool. And I know there's some setup with the canary and everything, but that's also a factor in all of this ranking because I think it's cool how you have to set up Misery Toadstool. And yes, it is a resource sink beyond limits, especially if you're doing it solo. But it's an accomplishment, man, and the game rewards you for that accomplishment. It gives you so many blueprints, so much loot, and stuff that is so good in terms of light and followers and just unique drops and hats and gear. I like it. It sucks. The fight is really tough, and he deals so much more damage and is faster and is just more beefed up than his regular counterpart, but I enjoy that. I think it's a unique twist on a boss that actually rewards said twist. And that is why it goes all the way to the top. The Pug, everybody. Okay, the Pug list, very, very fun. Once again, an active fight, so would you believe it? It's going to A. I don't know who made this list. They probably should have flipped this guy because his head is going the other way, but I like the Pug list a lot. Even if, once again, is a solo don't start boss, so it doesn't have the most health in the world. Starting the fight, very fun. You gotta know the right island, you gotta get to the right island, you gotta steal the magic water, which in and of itself is an amazing reward. The guy pops out and all of a sudden, holy moly, you are fighting this crazy snake monster that has armor everywhere, that shoots literal ice beams at you, can hit you with its tail, which is something you don't often see, can bite you, and it has, well, one spot where you're able to hit. So you have to be strategic in your movement throughout the entire fight in order to have consistent damage. Otherwise, you're kind of going to be stuck in a loop, and that's a problem in this fight. And I love that downside. You make a mistake, the game is going to punish you for it, but you can hopefully recover. You can run around like a moaf trying to get away from this thing, but I love it. It's just a fantastically designed fight, even if it's a short one. But speaking of short fights, the Quacken. And, well, speaking of designed fights, yeah, this one's interesting. You open the map, you see where the head is immediately, so you can probably get there before any of the tentacles and waves show up. You can completely negate everything but the tentacles, so it's practically a guaranteed win. I like the Quacken, easy to spawn, you can do it multiple times, you get pretty decent loot, and the quackening drill and all that stuff is fantastic, but as a fight, and as how I feel about it, yeah. Unless I am really challenging myself to not do like boat repair kits or purple groupers and stuff like that, it's just not good. You can negate too much about it. The Queen Womat, everybody. Okay, intriguing one, because they did change how she works. You cannot go behind her throne anymore and just have a guaranteed fight. So, I think I'm going to go B on this one. Otherwise, she would have absolutely been in D or F, for sure. Now, you can negate her screeching with rabbit earmuffs. Very unique mechanic. She has an incredibly dangerous earthquake mechanic that happens all the time, dropping warrior mats down on you that you have to deal with, maybe even scorpions that might poison you, and of course, the falling rocks. She is an incredibly challenging boss fight nowadays. You can still summon negate it with just a wall, which is kind of tough, which is where, you know, Dragonfly was sitting before, but I kind of really dig the changes that Clay made to her, and as always, she is pivotal for the progression of Hamlet, so yeah, the Queen Womat, actually high on the list. The Ancient Fuel Weaver, everybody. Alright, this one's easy one. It's going A. Why? Well, because I like how active the fight is. It has mechanics deep enough that kind of go beyond even things that are already on this list, which I like, but it is very annoying solo, and half the time isn't even working because it kind of lags if you're trying to use a weather pane on things to stop the woven shadows. But overall, as a fight, an end piece leading into the post-end game, I gotta hand it to it. It might not be as good as Celestial Champion, but overall, I like its shadow weaving, I like its bone cage, I like the things you have to think about before actually getting into it. Yes, Fuel Weaver, an A+ fight. Seal NATO, everybody. Also one that probably has gone and gotten a pretty good boost in its ranking. Nostalgia says A, but Practical Beard says B. Also, I'm just thinking about this. Don't look at the rankings in the rankings as rankings, actually. I'm just putting them in the list. But yes, Nostalgia says A, Practical Beard says B. Clay changed how we deal with this guy, be it on land or on water. We can't actually do the wall method on land anymore, so that's a whole thing. Adds a whole nother layer of scariness to this fight. So while he's very easy, especially if you have a swordfish, and I do like how we have the option to fight on the water, on the land, to make two kind of distinct fights, Yeah, the guy might just have a little too less health to warrant an A listing, but at the end of the day, drops very good loot, has the chance to drop even more loot if you do happen to kill the seal after everything is said and done. I like the way it sounds, how it feels, if it even shows up, which is another thing that might demote it a little bit. This boss is even worse than Deerclops when it comes to spawning. The seal NATO, everybody. High on the list, for sure. One of my favorites, a classic. The Tiger Shark, everybody. Alright, Tiger Shark is probably hidden C tier. Probably. I like how it shows up, but it might show up a little too much. Because if you didn't know, you can actually spawn the Tiger Shark in any season in Don't Starve Shipwrecked by doing like really random things, even like eating meatballs on the ocean. But as a fight, she is another that is different, whether you fight her on land or fight her on the ocean. And that is cool. It might squeak her up into B tier, but my problem with her is she is an incredibly easy kite no matter what. She is not that dangerous, and heck, she even runs away from us once she gets low enough, and that's actually kind of annoying if you're not ready to follow her to her den and everything. Yeah, I like her. She drops a very, very important item, but it's an item that you might actually just find for free out sailing in the ocean, so you have to consider that. And the sea sacks, yeah, not great either, so I think C tier might actually be perfect for her. Regular toadstool, everybody. Now this is gonna be weird, I imagine. If Misery is all the way up there, why on earth is the regular guy all the way down there, Beard? Well, I'll make it very simple. They are both essentially the same fight. The big difference, regular Toadstool does not drop guaranteed loot. And that is the big problem. So I gotta be honest, if you're fighting Toadstool, fight Misery, because if you fight the regular one, you're kind of just wasting your time. But folks, there you have it. There is our ranking of the bosses of the Don't Starve franchise. Unscripted and, well, kind of very rudimentary because I don't do tier lists very often, so I apologize if this one's a little weird or it's not how they normally go, but I just wanted to make it my own, right? So I sat down, chatted about a little things here and there, showed some footage that I liked, so that's it. Let me know your thoughts, as if you haven't probably been doing that throughout this entire video already, and I'll see you in the next one, because I am already sweating to death, and it hasn't even been 30 minutes. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.